All right, so we're in Dynamics 365 to go through and take a look at some of the help functionalities that we have within the system. One of the things we're going to go ahead and do is from the Business Application dropdown, we're going to go to Accounts, and from My Active Account, we're going to open up one of the account records. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the Coho Winery account record. As we talked about, when it comes to help, we actually do have context-based learning or context-based help. So regardless of where I am in the system, I can access the help at any time. By up in my title bar, you'll see I have a question mark up there. Now, when I click on that question mark, you'll see it pulls up the Help Hub. And from this Help Hub, I can use any kind of global search if I'm looking for something specific, or as you'll see, under the contextual help, I can click on the link to open help topic for this page. When I click on that link, you'll see it opens up a separate web page. And from that web page, I now have the steps to be able to walk through how to create an account as well as how to edit the account. So I can also, if I want to, be able to take that information and be able to have it separately from the application so that I can go through and work on that as necessary. Now, the other option I can do is right from here is because it is a separate web page, you'll see over on the See Also side, I can scroll down and see that if we're talking about creating an editing account, some of the other tasks that we might want to have help on, and I can actually have recommended help topics as well. So I can go to, let's say, for example, assign a record to a user team, and you'll see that I'm given the same steps of how to be able to go through and assign the user a record. Now, if I want to be able to go back to the main help page, I can simply click on the link for help and training. And when I click on the link for help and training, you'll see that I actually have it centralized by specific topics. Of course, I can search for any topic. I can go through and look at the specific topics, what we've discussed of being what's new, getting started, ebooks and videos, looking for admin content. And then if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that I have help broken out by the different business applications, as well as possible other topics such as user guides, our mobile apps, data management, Outlook, even dashboards and reports. So if I go and I click on Get Started, you'll see that it now allows me to go in and again choose which link that I want to get started on. So if I go to the sales user guide, from here, again, that user guide is now broken out in very clear defined topics so that if I want to see, and you'll also see that it will track as to some of the links that I've gone through and I've looked at before. So I can also get the same help by going in and using the application itself. But just to go through and take a look at some of the other help functionalities. If I go back to my main help and I go to ebooks and videos, you'll see from the ebooks and videos, again, I can look at either new features or I can break it down based on my business applications, my mobile apps, even Outlook, or for admins. So if I go to sales, you'll see that from sales, not only are there specific ebooks that I can look at, being CRM basics for sales pros and service reps, but also if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that I have certain videos that I can even go in and I can watch videos to get more details on that topic itself. So again, just going through and taking a look at some of the other functionalities. If I just want to go through, and again, we break it down based on topic. If I go to customer service, again, you'll see that I could go through and be able to drive and look at the information. And even right from here, I have a video available to me. So a couple of the other ones, just looking at this, is when we go back down, again, we've talked about our user apps. If I go to data management and just take a look at some of the other options, you'll see I even have an ebook for importing contacts, import accounts, leads, and other details, and other links that are available. So if I want to learn more about dashboards, again, I actually have an ebook for creating and customizing dashboards. So that's everything that we have available just from the help and training page. And this page is updated and refreshed regularly with the most current information. So if I want to see what's new, you'll see that I can actually even then track back to prior versions to see the new functionality based on the versions that we're working with. And you can now look at and get a breakdown of some of the new functionality. Now, one of the other things that they've also incorporated in this version is from this Help Hub, is it's part of what they call the learning plan. And what that learning plan is a guided tutorials or guided steps within the system so that as you're working on the information, it will help guide you through completing that task. So for example, if I go to that Help Hub, and from that Help Hub, I click on Import Your Data. One of the things that you'll see is it takes me directly to the section or the portion of the application where I can go in and I can import the data. And you'll see it says learn, where, and how. So if I click on that step, you'll now see I have prompters to help prompt me through this information. So from here, I can click on the next button. And when I click on the next button, you'll now see it gives you tips on this information. And again, as I continue to click on next, so it talks about the data maps, it talks about my templates, and continues to walk me through the steps until I have it completed. And then I can click on Got It. And now you'll see that once I've done that, it now shows that that step has been completed. And once the step has been completed, I can move to the next step. So it actually guides you through all of the necessary steps to complete the tasks. And then if I want, again, just to go back to my Help Hub, you'll see it goes back and allows me to go back to that Help Hub. So if there's other information that I want to get detailed on, I have that set up and I have that available. Now, in looking at that, one of the things that you will find is when it comes to working with the Help Hub, again, the Help Hub itself is actually part of the learning path. And that's an option with the Help Hub. They've now had it to where you can actually create custom content libraries off of the learning path. Now, in order to do so, there are some configurations that do need to be set up. And if we go through and just take a look at, under the settings, one of the things that you'll find is if I go from my settings to administration, and from the administration, I'm going to click on system settings. From the system settings, under the general tab, you'll see that there's some general configurations, and keep in mind that this is not a functionality that's available for all users. There are certain security roles that will have the ability to go through and use and configure these functionalities. But in doing so, if I continue to scroll down, you'll see that there's a setting there for set custom help URL. And one of the options that you have is to enable the learning path. So again, this is a system configuration, which means that all users, when they log in, will have the learning path enabled. I also have the option, though, to enable learning path authoring. So if we have standard business processes that we do within the system and we want our users to be able to have that available, we can create a content library so that as part of that Help Hub, it will actually be customized so we can have custom URLs. So if we want to have certain videos that we're creating or documentation and steps that we want to use, we can create our own learning path or content library for setting up and configuring the system. And then once we have it set up and configured, then it will be available from the settings, under the training, under the content library. Now at the same time, one of the things that you'll also notice, so I'm going to navigate back to my sales module. And from my sales module, I'm just going to go back to my home page, which has my dashboard. The learning path itself is enabled by default, which means when you look at the help icon, you'll see that it looks like a little call out button with the question mark within that call out button. So when I click on it, it pulls up the Help Hub. Well, as we mentioned, that this is part of the learning path, but this is also an option that I can turn on and off. So under my personal settings, when I click on the actual settings, right off the settings menu, there's an option to opt out of the learning path. If I select that option, once I select that option, you'll notice that that call out is no longer there and it changes to a regular question mark. Not only is it changed to a regular question mark, but what now happens is this is now true the context help, in that if we go back to my accounts and I open up an account record, that when I'm in that account record, if you remember, when I clicked on the help icon, I actually had the help hub pull up and prompt me to decide what I want to do. But now when I click on the help icon, you'll see that instead, immediately it now pulls up that context sensitive help. So that again, if I'm in an account record, it pulls up the information regarding an account. If I'm in my active accounts and I click on the help icon, you'll see it pulls up the same information of how to create or edit account. But let's say if I go back to my main page, which is my dashboards, and I'm within my dashboards and I click on the help icon, you'll now see that it is taking me to the user guide because it is the main page based on that business application that I'm currently in. Now, that learning path, because it is user specific, you'll see that you can opt in and opt out. So if I choose to opt in, again, you'll now see once I opt in that it changes back to that call out with the question mark inside the call out. And when I click on it, I now have the help hub pull up once more. So using the learning path, it is an option that you can configure both at a system level, but then also be able to go through and decide whether or not you want to have the learning path be enabled or disabled on a user by user basis. But regardless of where you are in the system, you will always have help available to you if you need additional information or additional details on how to complete that task. Or if we run into it, you can also see that you can now create more customized or business specific content library to help your users better embrace and understand the system.